Okay, this glare is going to ruin my testimony. Okay, so I wanted to come on and give my testimony. I think it's kind of long. I've always been very spiritual. I don't like religion at all, but I have always prayed to Jesus, and I've always believed in God, and I've had faith, but I've also always been into almost a New Age spirituality. At 15, I read the Bible. I didn't understand it, so I started reading Wicca books, and to me, it was all about nature, herbalism, botanism, oils, aromatherapy, meditation, yoga, like all that stuff felt good. It still feels good, but I was leaving God out of it. So I was like basically using the magic of God without bringing God into my practice. And the deeper I got into it, the more I felt the fire of hell in my life. I've always had a lot of spiritual friends, witchcraft type friends, paganism, and to me that's all okay, and felt good, felt healing. I'd been through a lot of trauma and I wanted to heal, and that stuff helped me heal. But I never claimed anything. I never claimed I was pagan. I never claimed I was Christian. I never claimed I was a witch. But a lot of these friends I had were pagan and witches, people who claimed that they're Vikings, and I don't have any problem with any of those people. They're very nice. They're intelligent. They're kind. But I did notice that anytime I would do the slightest thing wrong, they would be out of my life. They'd just be like, I can't be your friend anymore. And I think that really pushed me. That and I finally was going to pick a deity. I had so many psychics and mediums tell me that I had Freya energy, and that when I tell them certain dreams that I had or the fantasies that I play in my head, they'd be like, oh my gosh, you're part of Freya. Like, you should be talking to her. She's going to do so much good for you. And I never worshipped Freya or dove super deep into what she's about. But the second I decided that I was going to go that route, I swear I felt the fire from hell. Like, I felt like I knew exactly what path I was going down, and it was wrong, even as good as it felt. And my life showed that, because everything in my life, like, the deeper I got into it, into that side of spirituality, the deeper I got into looking at those gods, the deeper I went into my friendships with those people, the worse my life would get. I almost killed myself accidentally several times within like 6-week period. And I lost all my friends because, from my perspective, I wasn't giving them all of my caring energy. I wasn't giving them all of my healing energy. I wasn't giving them what they needed in the friendship. And it wasn't all about them anymore. So the moment I wasn't reaching out, and I wasn't able to get those people on my books, and I wasn't able to give any of my energy at all to them for a little bit of a time period, I wasn't worth their friendship anymore. And that also helped me. And there's other people that helped me along my journey. My best friend in my whole life is a devout Christian. And she's the person in my life who has shown me that there are good people. Because when I met her in my life, the only thing I knew were neglectful people, abusive people, drug addicts. I had been through all kinds of trauma and abuse. And I met her and got a glimpse into her life and was like, this is different. This feels better. I didn't know that we could live our lives that way. So I am so grateful for her. And I'm getting her testimony today. And even though I've known her since I was, I think, 8 or 9 years old, now I'm 32 and I'm finally getting her testimony. And a part of me thinks that's because I'm finally like opening up to her about my faith. Like, I've always believed in God, and I never prayed to anything other than Jesus. And I just felt that was the right way to go, even though I was so spiritual. But I'm getting her testimony today, and that made me kind of want to give my testimony that she's a huge part of that. But since I have been reading the Bible every day, which I've been making videos about, I am a lot further in the Bible than my videos. That was a decision I made to do when I'm almost halfway through reading text. And I started going to church a lot, which a lot of the churches where I'm around, they're paid by the government to preach certain things in the Bible and leave out certain things in the Bible. And I have nothing wrong with the church. The church I've been going to recently has been amazing. And there's so many synchronicities. And it's great. And my kids actually like it, which is a big plus. But they celebrate things that have pagan roots. Which I know paganism and Christianity, they fight back and forth about what's theirs. But I want to go to a church that follows more like the Bible and follows more Christ-like path, if that makes sense. But I think my testimony is just that I got so deep into the spiritual life that I felt the fires of hell. So something switched. It was like a series of events. It wasn't even like something magical happened. I didn't hear the word of God, even though I do pray to hear his voice almost every day. But my life is drastically different now from what I was doing and the way I was worshiping the universe and God to the way I'm doing it now. Like, I don't worry so much. I don't stress so much. I'm not in pain. That's the main thing, is that when I switched over to my new practice, where the first thing I do when I wake up is pray to God. The last thing I do before I go to bed, the last thought in my head is praying to God. Every night I go out about 8:30, 9 o'clock after the kids are asleep, and I light an incense. I put my chickens away, and then I pray. And I either walk around my garden praying, or I sit next to the incense and pray until the incense goes out. And since then, I don't have the spiritual attacks anymore. I had massive, horrible spiritual attacks that I'm so sensitive. Ask anybody that knows me, I'm so sensitive to energy. And I had these attacks where my whole body would burn and hurt, and it was inflammation, but it wasn't just inflammation. It was a hardcore spiritual attacks. And there were nights where I'd go back and forth between being too hot and too cold, thinking I'm gonna die tonight. And none of that happens to me anymore. And I think it's because I give it to God. God knows what to do with it. So when I'm worried or stressed or have a situation going on, I explain it to God. I explain my worries and my fears, and then I say, I give it to you because you know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with this. It doesn't feel good, and I need help. So I give it over to God, and I say that out loud to him, and it helps so much. So I think losing my last friend group really helped push me to God, because I thought they were so right, and I loved all their rituals, and I still do. I love them so much, but they're not good for me anymore. And I'm glad things turned out the way that they did, because my new path is so much brighter, and it physically feels so much better, emotionally feels so much better. I do a lot of apologizing, and I notice evil around me a lot better. I notice oh, that was a demon kind of thing, and I know how to direct myself in a better direction, if that makes sense. I think I'm going to redo my testimony when I understand it myself a little bit better, but for now, this is what I have for you, and I hope that I get tagged in somebody else's testimonies. I'm going to be watching other testimonies. I'm going to hear my friend's testimony today, and I'll keep you updated. Later today, I'll do some more Bible reading as well. Have a wonderful day. I love you.